Ben Shapiro has some thoughts on what masculinity is or what masculinity should be. And yeah, I think it's questionable to ever get advice about masculinity from a guy who bragged about not being able to pleasure his wife over the summer. But nonetheless, this is in response to Harry Styles and a recent magazine feature where he's dressed in dresses, right? This is for Vogue. And so let's take a look at what the images look like. All right, nice, and it includes a quote that says, "There's so much joy to be had in playing with clothes. I've never thought too much about what it means. It just becomes this extended part of creating something." And then you're encouraged to read the full article in Vogue. And normal people will maybe come across that tweet and realize if it bothers them at all, maybe there are other things to be more concerned about, like the fact that 247,000 Americans have died from this virus, from coronavirus, and it's all because of Trump's refusal to actually handle this the way that a leader would handle it. We didn't have to have that many people die, but no, it's okay. No, Ben Shapiro decides to latch on to these ridiculous culture war issues, so does Candace Owens. So let's start off with Candace Owens' tweet on this. I can't believe people care, but anyway, she says, there is no society that can survive without strong men. The East knows this. In the West, the steady feminization of our men at the same time that Marxism is being taught to our children, is Marxism being taught to our children? Is not a coincidence. It is an outright attack. Bring back manly men. Now, Ben, of course, piggybacked off of that tweet saying the following: "This is perfectly obvious. Anyone who pretends that this is not a referendum on masculinity for men to don floofy dresses is treating you as a full-on idiot." Okay, and then he continues whining about, "Oh my God, there's a guy wearing a dress, I just can't take it. Masculinity and femininity exist. Outward indicators of masculinity and femininity exist in nearly every human culture. Boys are taught to be more masculine in virtually every human culture because the role of men is not always the same as the role of women." And then there's more, but his arguments are just so boring at this point and so expected, right? I mean, especially when we're talking about our culture and how men in government used to wear fancy men wigs back in the day. Anyway, he says the left knows this, of course. The point of Styles doing this photo shoot is to feminize masculinity. Yes, that's what Harry Styles is thinking about. Harry Styles is doing a photo shoot with Vogue thinking, how can I pressure men to be more feminine? How can I wear a dress? And by that very nature of me wearing a dress, pressure men to also wear dresses. That's exactly what Harry Styles is thinking about Ben Shapiro. It's so dumb. Anyway, okay. And then he continues on, but Cenk, why don't you jump in?
All right. Yeah, I like your point, Anna. It's on the dollar bill. The dude's got a wig on, okay? As did all the founding fathers, except Ben Franklin, who didn't roll that way. And by the way, you know who else wore a robe? Jesus Christ. We can keep the Celts, the Scots. We can go on and on and on, right? You want to call the Scots non-masculine? Give it a shot, see how it turns out. So I love that Ben Shapiro is the arbiter of manliness. If you say so, brother. Yep. Okay, then you know who else wore a dress? Rudy Giuliani in an SNL skit. And you know who smelled him and said that he really liked it? Oh yeah, look at that guy, Donald Trump, right? So they did a skit where they, got all dressed up as a woman, not just in a dress, as a woman, Rudy did, and Trump loved it in that skit. So what, were they ruining Steven masculinity, Crowder. Ben? I don't know, they're your buddies, they're not my buddies, right?
Steven Crowder will never pass up an opportunity to wear a dress. Steven Crowder is obsessed with cross-dressing. He does it to make fun of others, but any opportunity he has. And by the way, do you boo? I don't care, right? I think that there's plenty of stuff, plenty of characteristics to critique someone like Steve Crowder on, right? But I don't care what he's wearing. I don't care what his personal style is. I don't care how he cuts his hair. I just don't care. I don't care about anyone's personal choices that have absolutely no impact on other people's lives. If you want to express yourself by wearing a dress, cool. If you think masculinity means that you wear like a wife beater or I should say a tank top and cargo pants all day long, great. If you feel like you need to wear military style gear all day long in order to feel manly, awesome, I don't care. But as a woman, let me just give guys who actually care about what women think some advice, okay? For me, a man who's constantly obsessing over masculinity is not hot. That is like, it kills the lady boner immediately. A guy who is confident in who he is, a guy who is unapologetic about who he is, a guy who knows who he is and is accepting of that. I think that confidence is way hotter, and I think that that's way more masculine than going around judging other men for not being appropriately masculine enough for your preference. It's just so dumb.
Yeah, so look, no one is denying that there are some physical differences between men and women. Obviously, he always does straw man arguments because Harry Styles wore something he didn't like. He's making it seem like the left is saying, no, there's no difference between a man and a woman genetically or in any other way. But wait, Harry Styles didn't say that. Nobody said that. You made that up. So, and look, is there an absurd thing in the culture now where people don't even know what they're complaining about? I remember an LA Times reporter once asked me accusingly, is it true that you're attracted to women? And I was like, yeah. Oh, you caught me on that one, guilty, right? So it's not like absurdity doesn't exist in the world, it does, okay? We've even dealt with it. But this ain't it. This is basically you saying, haha, he looks gay and we used to be tough guys and I don't like this, right? But Ben, and to all the right wingers out there, I've got a real question for you guys. Why do you care? Like, so right. Harry wears that. It doesn't affect my masculinity or who I'm attracted to 1%. And I can't really even imagine how it would. Why does it make you insecure to the point where you gotta lash out at him? It doesn't make any sense. And it betrays a certain insecurity that gets to the point that Anna was making. Like, guys who are secure in their masculinity aren't going around asking women all the time, like, am I masculine enough? I'm masculine enough, right? I mean, I think there's something wrong with our masculinity. That's not what a strong, confident guy sounds like.
Normal human beings don't go around constantly thinking about whether someone's an alpha male or a beta male, whether someone's masculine enough or too feminine. And by the way, every culture is different. So I'll give you an example. So my husband has a podcast about masculinity called Behind the Masculinity. And so he researches these types of topics and has pretty lengthy discussions with experts on it. And he brought up some of his upbringing, right? Some of what, and I don't think this is indicative of Cuban culture, but at least in his environment, a manly man has a wife, and then he has like a girlfriend, and then he has a second girlfriend. Like, there's no monogamy, right? A real man doesn't believe in monogamy. Like, those are the kinds of messages he got growing up, and I will kill him if he follows any of that advice. I'm just saying right now, okay? But anyway. So what does Ben Shapiro think about that, right? Because to some, masculinity is sleeping around, not being faithful to a single woman. But according to Ben Shapiro, simply watching porn is like engaging in an extramarital affair that's gonna ruin your life. So, I mean, to say that one culture's interpretation of masculinity is the only way to think of masculinity is ridiculous and wrong. Anyway, that's my random rant on that.
The two greatest conquerors in world history were Genghis Khan and Alexander the Great. They conquered the most land, they had the biggest impact, etc. Alexander the Great was bi. So what, he wasn't masculine enough? He took half the known world, he wasn't masculine enough. I'm sorry, Ben Shapiro, if he failed your test of masculinity. And look, guys, I'll just stand on that too. Whether it's the Jesse Lee Petersons or, by the way, Alex Jones, who accidentally shows the trans porn on his phone and then said, oh, that pops up on everybody's phone. Does it, Alex? Does it? Guys, we don't care. We don't care. Just live your life, man. You're so bogged down in your insecurities because you got brainwashed when you were a kid, maybe because it was religion or whatever it was. It was like, oh, don't think that. Oh, Ben, porn is so bad. The things that you love so much is so wrong. You should feel so guilty, right? And we're here to help you guys. Let it go. And stop, for the party that claims to be for freedom, stop telling us how to live our lives. It is the exact opposite of freedom. Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.